Howdy, folks. I'm Watchful Watermelon, wearily watching wintry weather.
I'm Amber.
Amber, these are supposed to be summer vegetables. Why are they watching wintry weather?
Well, that's why they're so wary because it's supposed to be summertime, but suddenly there's winter weather.
Well, then, I guess that makes some sense. I don't know how much sense it makes, but I guess that's the way it is. Let's get started. Alright, folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Leaving My Wife Over Her Body? Am I the jerk for leaving my wife because her body changed after she had our baby? Yes, let's move along.
Yeah.
Okay, before you judge me, hear me out. I'm a 30-year-old male. I have been married to. Oh, I got it. I got it. His wife turned into an eldritch horror after she gave birth. He wasn't aware that she was an eldritch horror before birth. I've seen these kind of scenarios before. I judged him too soon. And now she's trying to eat his soul. I finally understand why he left her.
Yeah, that's not the story, unfortunately.
Okay, before you judge me, hear me out. I'm a 30-year-old male, and I've been married to my wife, Emily, a 28-year-old female, for 4 years. We had our first child about a year ago. Before Emily got pregnant, she was really into fitness and always took care of her body. She looked amazing, and that's something that I've always appreciated about her. When she got pregnant, obviously her body changed. I've expected that. Everyone knows that pregnancy changes your body, but I also assumed that she would get back to working out and return to her pre-baby shape after the baby was born. That's what all of those fitness influencers and celebrities do, right? Well, here we are a year later and Emily still hasn't bounced back. She's gained some weight and her body just isn't the same. I know that she's been busy with the baby, but I've even offered to pay for a personal trainer and a meal plan to help get her back in shape. She keeps saying that she's too tired or that she doesn't have time between working and taking care of our son. Honestly, it's just frustrating. I've tried to be patient, but I'm just not as attracted to her as I used to be. I started avoiding intimacy, and things between us became strained. I finally told her that I couldn't keep living like this, that I didn't feel the same anymore. She cried and then said that she was doing her best, but it wasn't enough for me. I've ended up leaving her. I moved out last week, and I'm staying with a friend now. Emily is devastated, and her family is calling me all sorts of names. They say that I'm a terrible husband and a father for abandoning her when she's already dealing with so much. But here's the thing. I think that I have a right to be with someone that I'm physically attracted to. I'm only 30, and I don't want to be in a marriage where I'm not happy with how my partner looks. Is that really so wrong? Some of my friends are telling me that I'm being shallow and that I should be supporting her more, but I don't think that it's unreasonable to want my wife to look like she did before. Am I supposed to just settle for something less than what I signed up for? Update. Emily called me and said that if I come back, we can forget it and move on. Honestly, I don't know if I should do it. I read all the comments and I came to realize that I am indeed the jerk. Should I accept her offer or not? Genuine advice needed. Alright, folks, what do you think? Should the OP accept her offer?
I mean, honestly, probably staying away is doing her a favor because what happens when she starts to get, older, people's bodies do not stay the same throughout their lives. Even if she quote unquote bounces back, which like the thing about influencers and celebrities is they have oodles of money to pay people to take care of their kids for them
Yeah.
so that they can bounce back. Was he doing any of the childcare during this time? It sounds like she's the primary caretaker for their son. Maybe a more helpful offer would be to offer to take the kids, offer to hire a nanny or a maid, actually help her with the tasks that are getting in the way of her being able to do her fitness.
Yeah, I think this is one of those situations where OP is being extraordinarily selfish,
Mm-hmm.
right? They wanted to have a kid, and there are things that happen after children, right? And, that's one of the considerations that you have to make if you want to actually have children is what is that going to do to one's body, right?
Right. And I mean, some changes are irreversible. Children can expand your rib cage, they can expand your hips, like depending on where you carry. If she was really thin before, there's a good chance that all the dieting and exercising in the world, like they're not going to put her ribs back into place if those have expanded.
Yeah. So I think that OP really, like you said, maybe he needs to be doing more to help her, maybe so that she's not exhausted all the time.
Right.
And then also, like, if your wife is interested in fitness and stuff like that, there's a good chance that she's still interested in fitness. And it's just a matter of like right now, having a child under a year, or a year old is a really difficult task. Kids are a handful.
Mm-hmm.
And, once she gets to a place where she can actually start focusing more on fitness and whatnot, I'm sure she's going to. But all of that aside, you really shouldn't be judging her for her physical body anyways, right?
Right.
It
Like,
is selfish. It is shallow.
it is, the marriage vows are not, I'll be with you until you have kids and your body
Yeah,
changes,
yeah.
and like that's a fact of life is all of our bodies are going to change if we live long enough,
Hmm.
and so I'm really concerned for OP's wife's future if she stays with him because, even if, again, if she loses the weight now, then like what about when she hits menopause? What about when she starts getting gray hair and wrinkles? Is he going to go running for a 20-year-old because this isn't what I signed up for?
Yeah, no, I mean, it feels like he is just going to be exchanging women until, every year his women get younger or something like that, right?
Yeah.
He gets older while he's dating a, 18-year-old every year or something like that. You know, if that's what you want to do, then you need to be very upfront with people about what kind of relationship you want to have with them, right? You can't just help someone, marry someone and then be like, oh, yeah, I changed my mind about all what I meant exactly with my marriage vows.
Yeah. And so just to be crystal clear, I don't think that OP's wife should have to change herself.
Hmm.
But I like, as I talked about how maybe she would do more exercise if OP picked up the slack. I'm just saying that, like, you should be pulling your weight in your relationship and not like expecting her to shoulder the entire burden and then being surprised when she's exhausted.
Yeah,
Like she has this whole added responsibility now, and somehow she's not making it all work anymore.
yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So, anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Deciding Not to Use My Favorite Girl Name for My Daughter like I always wanted to because my husband's sister decided to use it for hers? And Amber wants to read this one.
My husband and I, who are both 30, welcomed our second baby into the world a few weeks ago. We had originally planned to give her a name that I have adored since childhood. But then my husband's sister had a baby girl and she decided to give her daughter this name. It came from nowhere because she always preferred timeless names like Elizabeth, Emily, Emma, Catherine, and so on. The name she ended up going for, my favorite girl name, is Serafina. A lot of people knew it was my favorite and it was our girl name. When I was expecting our son, we had mentioned it would be our girl name. Even before having kids, friends and family knew that was the name I adored. But I was never fond of family members sharing the same first name. I know it happens. I know it's not the end of the world. Nobody owns a name. I also know that in some families it's very common for relatives to have the same first name, but I personally don't love it. So after sister-in-law had her baby, we came up with another name for our daughter. My in-laws had been surprised when sister-in-law had her daughter and announced the name. Most people had expected her daughter to be Emily because she talked about that name a lot. Serafina came from nowhere with her. When we announced our daughter's name, the actual name, after she was born, we did get asked why we had chosen not to use Serafina, and my husband told them we had decided to go with something else during the pregnancy because we felt it was for the best. No specific reason given, at least not that he brought up around me. But his mom and his other sister and one of his brothers did make comments to sister-in-law about it being her fault. They said it was pretty clear our change came because she used the name we intended to use. Sister-in-law ended up fighting with her mom because it was always clear I was never a sister-in-law's favorite person, and she accused her of doing it spitefully. This has come back around to me because sister-in-law has now come for me, saying I should have used the name too. I shouldn't have let her get blamed for stealing a name when nobody can steal a name. I told her I never accused her of anything like that. She told me I didn't need to because the name Serafina was something everyone knew for years that I loved, and then all of a sudden I finally have a girl and use a different name, and it happens just after she also decides to use the name for her daughter. I told her we're entitled to change our minds just like she is. I also told her I don't have to answer to her. She told me I created drama for no reason and there is no way the change idea came from her brother, that it was clearly me who got butthurt over it. She told me to get over it and there could have been two Serafinas. She also accidentally admitted that she had been waiting for me to confront her on the name. She caught herself before finishing and just went on about how I had changed the name to stir drama and make her family turn on her. She also accused me of using the girls as pawns in this whole thing. Am I the jerk?
Alright, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. There's no winning with this woman. The person using their children as pawns is sister-in-law. She did this to get a reaction out of OP. If OP had named her daughter Serafina, she'd be like, how dare you steal my baby name?
Yeah. There was no winning for OP. There really was not. And I think that sister-in-law thought that she had a victory and probably was very smug about this until people started getting on her case. And she didn't realize that actions have consequences.
Yeah, and if she's sending you these messages over text, I would show them to your husband just so he knows what his sister's doing and let him handle her.
Yeah.
She's clearly singling Opie out. She doesn't like Opie for some reason. My brother would never have changed the name. Like, she's trying to make Opie out to be some evil entity, and it's important to have documentation so that when she inevitably is like, Opie's ruining everything, you're like, yeah, no, you're the one who's doing everything.
Well, and the audacity to be like, oh, you had no right to change your mind when she literally changed her mind from Emily to Serafina, right? So I think like her whole arguments, of course, hold no water here because she only did this out of spite. She didn't have any deeper motivation.
Well, and she's furious that Opie is not fighting her over it. Like, she wanted this to be some big drama, and she's not getting drama out of OP, so she's trying to create it somehow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think OP handled this in the best possible way. They didn't blame her. They didn't like deride her for doing this or anything like that. OP was like disappointed probably, but they didn't let it ruin their pregnancy or their birth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's probably what made sister-in-law the most mad is that
She didn't get under OP's skin like she wanted to.
yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for wearing a backless dress to dinner as a 42-year-old woman? No. Next letter, please.
Yeah, I know, right?
I am a 42-year-old female and my husband is a 46-year-old male. During the pandemic, I decided to get into Pilates, lifting, and strength training. I was always thin, but not toned, but I wanted to be healthier. Fast forward to now, not only do I feel so much stronger and healthier, but I look better too. My Pilates girls have encouraged me to be more confident in my look. I hadn't dressed fashionably in years. I tended to stick to the basics, but I really enjoyed going out with friends and discovering a new sense of style. It's better late than never. I've slowly accumulated a whole new wardrobe. I wore a backless dress that had a leg slit to dinner with my husband and friends at an upscale restaurant. After dinner, my husband told me that I should not have worn it because it was exposing too much skin. It was inappropriate for an older woman, and I was getting looks. I think that it was an appropriate dress, it fit the atmosphere of the restaurant, and I did get compliments from my friends. I don't think anyone was looking at me. Am I the jerk? Alright folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk, but husband might need to spend some time in the centrifuge.
Yeah, and also, who cares if people were looking at OP, right?
Yeah, and his whole it's inappropriate for an older woman. I mean, first of all, dresses are not like age, like there's not like you have to be a certain age to buy a dress type of thing or, under a certain age. But like calling a 42-year-old an older woman, like the audacity there. It's like, dude, do you consider yourself an older man at 46?
Yeah, well, probably not. He probably would be happy to go to a beach with his shirt off and have all the skin exposed for everyone to see, right?
Right. This is clearly, sexism coming out here. And don't listen to him, OP. Listen to your friends. They actually care about you feeling happy and confident. And if people were giving you looks, it's probably because they thought you looked good, not because they were horrified that a 42-year-old would have a backless dress.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, My partner said that my birth was great. I'm a 35-year-old female and my partner is a 41-year-old male and the baby is a 5-month female. Sitting around, talking about parenthood at a party. A person, 25-year-old female, asks how my labor went. My partner chimed in without skipping a beat to say how wonderful it was and that he wished he had a bunch of women at work telling him how good he was doing while lifting boxes. Side note, it's difficult to bring up criticism or sensitive subjects without tripping his shame triggers. Later on in the car, I asked how prefacing how I'm not trying to be insensitive, how he felt the ability to describe birth when it was my experience and it wasn't as pretty as he described. It turned into a full-on blowout. Am I wrong for thinking that there's a problem here? Alright folks, what do you think? Is lifting boxes or pregnancy harder?
Yeah, OP, you are not in the wrong for thinking this is not comparable. He's trying to reduce an intensely grueling physical like thing, giving birth. No matter how you deliver, it's not going to be rainbows and sunshine to the same thing as moving box. Most people can move boxes, and like you know, maybe a little bit of effort, but it's not that much. Whereas giving birth, you're in labor for hours, things are ripping or being cut open, your body's just not having a good time. And for him to be like, oh, yeah, it was so easy, like it's just like lifting boxes. Like the reason why people were encouraging you and supporting you is because it's one of the most grueling things the human body can go through.
Yeah. I think that this guy has major issues. I think
Mm-hmm.
that OP and him maybe need to go into couples therapy. Like she's saying that he has these shame triggers and it stops her from actually broaching important conversations. I think that this is just the icing on the cake for the many issues in this relationship
I'm
here.
sure it is, and I'd recommend individual therapy for him if he is like cannot handle the criticism that he doesn't understand what it's like to give birth.
Hmm. So yeah, I think there's just a lot of red flags here. I think the guy just really has no grip on reality. I don't know. But let me know what you folks think. So, anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our last letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Letting My Son Talk About His Origin? I'm a 39-year-old male, and my husband is a 40-year-old male, and we are a gay couple. This is relevant because our son, a 15-year-old male, is a test tube born due to in vitro fertilization baby, which is unfortunately related to the story. My husband and I have taught him since he was a little kid that he doesn't have to be ashamed of this. It's completely normal that he has two fathers. After a while, this test tube thing became a running joke in our household. A few weeks ago, he had a sleepover at a close friend's house. After a few hours, the friend's mother called me desperately to come and get my son. I thought something that was an emergency, so when I got there, the woman started screaming that my son was teaching her child bad things, has been a bad influence on him, is teaching him the sin, etc. It turned out that my son's friend asked him how he had two fathers, and my son explained it to him, and the mother heard this. The bottom line is that now my family is no longer welcome in her house or near her children. I didn't apologize, and neither did my son, because it wasn't his fault. In my opinion, and in my partner's opinion, however, when I told some acquaintances, they said that our child should have been forbidden to explain the test tube baby thing to others because it could make them uncomfortable. So am I the jerk that I let him talk about this? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. I mean, first of all, in vitro fertilization is something widely used by a lot of couples, not just gay couples. It's one of many ways of conceiving, or one of multiple ways of conceiving children. They're 15-year-olds, like, I mean, I think even young children can handle these kind of conversations if they're handled in an age appropriate way,
Yeah.
but they're 15. They're old enough to where,
Well,
they're
they already went through, sex education, probably, right?
right.
Right. They already know about the birds and the bees here. There are no
Mm-hmm.
surprises. And test tubes, in vitro fertilization is probably like less scandalous in some
Mm-hmm.
respects than some other of those talks. So yeah, I think that this is not unreasonable for the kid to talk about.
Right.
Like you said, 15.
Mm-hmm.
But let me know what you folks think. So, anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
What is the zombie's favorite vacation resort?
Probably like not the graveyard because they were trying to get out of the graveyard because they're zombies. So, I would have to say something like a big city with lots of brains.
Club Dead.
That might work too. That might work too. And I have Earl Grey. All right, and Amber wants to talk about Grizzly, and she has a Grizzly shirt on.
I do. It says Bears will be bears and it has the book on it. So just as a reminder, Grizzly is only available until September 10th. This is a charity anthology to raise money for Take Back the Night, which is an organization dedicated to ending sexual violence worldwide. Great cause, great stories. They're from multiple genres, so there's something in there for everyone. So yeah, if you want a copy, make sure to get it before September 10th because then they're going to be gone. They're on Amazon. So anywhere Amazon is available, you can get an ebook or paperback. And if you've read it and you've enjoyed it, we'd love to have or if you've read the book, then we'd love it if you could review it on Amazon or Goodreads.
Yeah.
So,
And we also have a link on my community page. So if you head on over to the community page, there's a link there.
yeah, because it's kind of hard to find on Amazon if you just type it in. So, yeah, follow Brian's link.
All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Friday, Junior.
Happy Friday, Junior.
Thanks so much to Amber for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it a newspaper headline.
Extra, extra, read all about it. 46-year-old man shames his wife for having skin.
That's about it. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.